Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, earthlings, ladies and gentlemen, and all animals all over planet Earth. How are you all doing today? Massive, fabulous news, courtesy of the wonderful Neil Sean, who's he's turning into a bit of the hard man of YouTube, isn't he? Oh, Neil, I love you, man. Meghan and Harry will not have a starring role, allegedly, as Neil always says, at the coronation. They'll just be guests, presumably behind the tallest, widest, largest candle ever. And they won't be on the balcony, they're banned. They're banned from the balcony, and that is how Neil phrased it. I will put a link in the description to his particular video of that. Thank you very much, Neil. And I'll come to more of that later on. I just don't like it when people do clickbaity and the title's sort of going to, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call this one yet, but it's going to be along those lines. So you all know to everybody blood pressure down. But I've read so many of your comments and there's so much to talk about in this one, so it might be a bit of a longer one, I'm not sure. Depends how quickly I get through it. Firstly, I'd like to say that we all lie. I lie. We all lie. Anyone who says they've never told a lie from birth to wherever they are at now, well, is by definition a liar, because we all lie. You know, does this dress make my bum look big? Oh no, you look lovely in it. You know, that type of white lie, as people call it. Is there such a thing as a white lie? A black lie? Is a lie? You know, how does anybody get from birth to death without telling a single lie? If you know how, tell me, because I don't know how. Sometimes people lie to help a loved one, to cover up for something, or to try and help someone. Maybe the police would come running down the street and they go, "Which way did he go?" "That way, officer," when you know damn well he went that way. I don't know. I think I have done that sort of thing myself in the past. So I am a liar. I've lied in my life, and I'm a sinner. We are all sinners. I don't believe anybody is absolutely perfect. So casting judgment on people is a bad thing, because we're all in a glass house of some description or another. And you all know the word "but" or "however" is coming. I think what really grates me about Meghan is that we have had two narcissistic psychopaths in our lives now for 13 years, although they're not a bother now. We started to get a handle on how to deal with them about 4 or 5 years ago. And we really learned how to do it, actually, when we watched the first season of The Crown. And it was just the girl Claire Foy who depicted the young queen, the way she put her across. She was very like Elizabeth, and I thought that's how we should treat our narcs. And it worked. I mean, it worked a treat. They carried on being a nuisance for about 6 months, but after that it stopped. And I suppose I fell into the trap the other day of Meghan's PR. You know, she had to announce it through People magazine. And this is exactly what our narcs used to do. They were very, very good at creating the illusion that they had won. And it really got under our skin, because they'd done so many things. I mean, horrible, awful things, way worse than I think Meghan has. You know, she's nothing, trust me, compared to these two. It's just she's married into the British royal family. She's married into a very wealthy, powerful family, and that family don't normally, well, they don't wield power. They just get about their business quietly. But she thought money, power, and she went for it. But trust me, she's nothing. She's actually very contained and controlled and calm. If our two narcs had married into the British royal family, oh, nuclear war would have started by now. Believe me. I mean, they are, one day, when they are completely gone out of our lives, I will tell you the whole story. And it's horrific, absolutely horrific. So we all do still suffer from the scars of their dishonesty. Now, there's a big difference between lying to cover up for someone or help someone out or make someone feel better, than there's absolutely nothing in it for you yourself or me myself, and to just make shit up, to drop someone else in it, create a reaction, then play victim, and then lie under oath to deliberately try and get them into trouble. That is the full false witness thing, which is why I get really fed up with her. Right, firstly, some of your comments. I absolutely loved the comment. I think it was from someone called Damien, who's a hairdresser, who was doing Lady Susan Hussey's hair, didn't realise who she was, and was chatting to her and said, "Oh, I think the throne should just skip to William." Didn't. But I bet that happens to them all the time. They will. Their friends, their colleagues will go out into the real world and come back and say, "You'll never guess what I just heard at the sandwich shop." This is like the... They must do that. So, but I thought that was quite funny. Now, regarding the coronation, and this is only a little bit about Meghan because, come on, let's talk about more interesting things, guys. Putting yourself in the shoes of the Duke of Norfolk, who I believe is in charge of the organisation of the coronation, to any fans of Meghan's out there who say, "Oh, no, she needs a starring role." Before having a starring role, primarily one needs to accept the invitation. If they don't even know if she's coming or not, allegedly, that's what's been said, whether that's true or not, because we take it all with a pinch of salt. If you're going to go, "Well, I'm going to let..." Well, actually, no, it was her actual spokesperson who said, "We haven't decided at this time if she's going to go." So how is the Duke of Norfolk going to have a starring role? Bad enough, the seating plan. But then she wants a starring role. Well, you need to know if the person's coming. Now, as Neil phrased it, George, Charlotte and Louis, if little Louis goes, they will be involved because this is part of their future. Whereas Meghan and Harry have made it clear that the monarchy is not part of their future, therefore why should they be involved or be on the balcony? So they're not going to be on the balcony and they're not going to have a starring role. We're not going to see her in a tiara. I'm actually kind of disappointed in some sadistic way. What will she wear if she comes? What will she wear, guys? I mean, that outfit she wore to the Jubilee thing, that was... She looked like Inspector Gadget. I mean, really, the things she wears are just... Now, there was one Meghan supporter who came on who called us all haters. Okay, I don't know about you guys, it's water off a duck's back now. We're all jealous. We wanted to marry Harry. Okay. But I did reply to that person and I said, "You love Meghan, and that's great. That's fabulous. And could that Meghan supporter, presumably they go on other places, Facebook, Instagram, other YouTube channels that do support Meghan. So I encourage them, can you not please spread the word amongst the Sugars and the Meghan supporters? Can't Meghan have a tiara commissioned herself? Design her own tiara, possibly with influence of whatever hereditary she believes she has. I think she thinks she's, 99% Nigerian or something like that. Some influence, and then that would be hers. She would pay for that with her own money, with Harry's money. It would be hers to keep, hers to design, hers to give to her son for his wife to get married, or possibly his husband, if Archie may be gay, for his husband to wear, or for Lily to wear, and for them to hand it on to their descendants. So please, 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 if you love Meghan, if you're a Meghan supporter, please get that word out. I'm being deadly serious about that one. If she wants a tiara, and I believe she does, then design one and have one made yourself. And it can be called the Meghan tiara, or the Markle Sparkle, or something like that. All right, so I've done that. Oh, I've done that one. And I've done that one. A lot of you have asked about our monarch here. Well, we actually we have one monarch. We have King Felipe and Queen Letizia. But we do also have Queen Sophia and King Carlos. Now, there's been a lot of controversy about our royal family here in Spain, and King Carlos has come under quite a lot of fire. He's in a very advancing years. Firstly, I adore Queen Sophia. I love her. She has such a kind face, such a smiley face, and not only that, she is a kind lady. She has grandchildren that are kind of banished, and it's awful, but she makes just as much of a fuss of them as she does of all the others. She's a lovely lady. And Carlos, interestingly enough, there was no monarch here. General Francisco Franco was a dictator. And it was actually Franco who decided to bring Carlos back, which is a really weird situation, you know, a dictator bringing a monarch back. And I watched a documentary recently on King Carlos where he was being interviewed and being very open and forthcoming about his entire life and reign. And about, you know, how his father had been deposed and then he had been invited back by Franco. His father was really angry, actually, and saw it as an act of betrayal. You know, you've gone back to be in Spain when I'm banished. But Carlos was saying that he made it his business to get along with Franco, of course, and to try and learn and understand where he was coming from and to try and learn and understand about Spain itself. And Spain is a very, very complicated country. There's more than one version of Spanish. It's almost like lots of little countries in one country. Today it's more like one country, but back then it was quite fractured. And when Franco died, Carlos was actually instrumental, although he doesn't give himself enough credit for it, but he was explaining how he was working with the politicians and passing on things that Franco had told him, passing on things he knew from his father to try and get them all to accept the principles of free speech and democracy. And there was a moment that King Carlos stepped in and helped Parliament in a very tricky situation. They all rushed, there were people with guns went into the Spanish Parliament and King Carlos was instrumental in calming all of that down. They all looked to the king and he was a king and he helped. And I do like him. I also like his son. Charles, Diana, William and Harry used to go on holiday with the Spanish royal family. So they're really quite close, our royal family and the UK royal family. Our current king, King Felipe, used to refer to our late monarch as Aunt Lilibet. So they're pretty close. Yeah, look up old King Carlos. There's a lot of stuff, you know. And here I'd say it's probably 50-50. Half the people of Spain really don't want a monarchy and the other half do. Well, I really think that the monarchy helps stabilise things. And Spain is a really advancing country, considering that they had Franco for so many years. They were really in quite arrested development and they had the Civil War. There's a lot of complexities and they're so advanced now. I mean, some parts are actually turning quite wokey-cokey. Right, massive thing. What will Camilla wear to the coronation? Criticisms of them as people aside, I've actually always... Since Camilla got married to Charles and I saw her wedding outfit and how nervous she was on her wedding day, I've warmed to her a lot and I think she's very good for Charles. I think she's the sense of humour that he lacks. I think she's the levelling, common sense, come on, let's just get on with it, that he needs. I think she's very good for him. And apart from anything else, I want to see what she's going to wear to the coronation because she is the Queen. I know she's going to wear Queen Mary's crown. I really hope without the puffy velvet bit and the, the things. I mean, she could carry it off. I just think in this day and age, it's a little Alice in Wonderland. The crown, as Queen Mary eventually wore it as the Dowager Queen, was just the, well, I say just the look, but it's covered in diamonds and it's fabulous. And she has wonderful hair and I'd love to see it like that without the velvet bit and the arches, but more to the point, her coat. Because when they were getting married, I was very curious to see what she was going to wear on her wedding day. Being an older bride, I mean, she wasn't old, but she wasn't, at that time, there were loads of bride shows on and everybody was wearing a boob tube with a big puffy meringue. And they all seemed to be 18, 19-year-old brides. Now, they got married in 2005 and Graham and I were getting married in 2006. And I was 36 and I was thinking, well, what shall I wear? I don't really want to wear the boob tube with the meringue. So I was interested to see what Camilla was going to wear and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I loved that gold and silver coat. I loved the headdress that she wore and it inspired me. And so my mum and I designed a wedding coat because effectively that's what Camilla wore. She wore a coat, but it was very regal. I thought more regal than any of the other brides' dresses. I'm not really into the white, you know. really didn't like Princess Diana's wedding dress. I love the Spencer tiara, but she just looked like she was drowning in ruffles and frills and stuff. I know it was the time, but I preferred Camilla's wedding coat, so I'm really looking forward to that. I think maybe a midnight blue. I'm sure I've spoken about this before. Also Catherine, well Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will not fail to disappoint. I know she won't. She's going to look amazing. The children will look amazing. William, of course, will look devastatingly dashing, we all know. And it will be interesting to see what the King wears. And I do refer to him as the King now because my faith is restored, having heard Neil Sean this morning. Now, Neil says that it was really down to the Prince of Wales putting his foot down. But I do suspect that Charles, in a manner of speaking, is taking the unpopular decisions and sort of preparing it for William's reign. I could be wrong on that. I like to think of it that way, and that they are working as a sort of a team. And Neil did say that the Prince of Wales is painfully aware of public sentiment. So, yeah, the King's not going to wear the stuff that kings normally wear. You know, they sort of have a great big cape and knickerbockers and stuff like that. I think he might go for military, or I don't know, he might have his own suit designed. That would be nice, some sort of modern suit. Well, we'll see. I'm sure it's been in the planning for a long time. But yeah, Camilla's, because I'm always attracted more to what the ladies are going to wear. Sorry, guys. Sorry, dudes out there. Oh yes, I've done that one. Constitutional monarchies. Yes, I do believe constitutional monarchies are good. We actually had a couple of Romanians who worked at Dolphin Safari, fascinating people, and they lived in Transylvania, you know, where Dracula came from. And they were telling us, you know, the difference between living under communism and then fascism, and how things had changed. Now, they were in their 40s. They're in their 40s, both of them. So not old enough to remember the monarchy, but their parents were, and their grandparents, and they had said that things were, you know, it's like the grass is always greener when you don't have a monarchy. Let's, you know, the idealism, it's got to be an elected head of state, everything's going to be perfect. Well, have a look around at some of these European countries, and one of these guys worked for the Romanian police, and one of his jobs was to go and kick people's doors in the night and arrest them and take them off, and they would most likely be executed. But he was an absolute teddy bear working with us. In fact, Benji didn't bully him. Our Benji's very confident, and he criticised this guy's sales techniques, and the guy actually did shed a tear, and we were all like, oh my God, Benji, you know, this guy he was in the Romanian secret police, he used to help arrange to have people executed, and Benji was short for his age as well. Benji was like, well, I don't care, I mean, what's the guy's sales pitch? I can bring more, because Benji was doing sales when he was 15. He can sell eggs to a chicken. And I did get a comment on a very old video now. I think it was, well, I can't remember which one it was. Someone said, why, I can't believe you haven't deleted this. I don't delete any of my videos. I leave all of my videos as is. As the video I did the other day where I was expressing my disappointment in Charles, I said, this is how I feel at this moment in time. And I leave all my videos as a historical record of how I was feeling at that particular time and what I said. If I said something, I stand by it. I said that. I'm not going to delete things. I don't twist history. I don't scrub the internet. I don't do any of those things. Also, Graham's very keen for me to do a gun disarming video on his channel. So I put a link to Graham's channel if you want to see that. That'll be coming later today. I hate doing martial arts with Graham and gun disarming and stuff. He always says, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to hurt you. And then I invariably end up with bruises from the exercise. So I gave up doing kickboxing years ago because I have bruises and stuff like that. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes.
It's not going to happen. I don't hurt, my darling.
No, you'll say it won't hurt at all, and then you'll do some kung fu and it'll bruise my arm.
I won't.
All right, well, we'll see.
It's a really good technique.
Yeah, so that'll be on Graham's channel. And so, thoughts and opinions. I'll go back to reading your comments. It feels like I'm having a chat with each and every one of you, which So it may sound really weird. It feels like we're just having a coffee in the mornings, as some of you have said. And reading your comments and all the different perspectives and different angles you're coming from, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Oh, and on a final point, well, I don't know if I should say or not. So once in a while, TV companies approach me and ask me to do a thing about my having been on the run all those years ago. And I don't know, what do you guys think? I've got one at the moment who's asked, and I do want to do it in a manner of speaking, but in another manner, I don't want to hurt anybody from back in the day, or I don't know. As you guys all know and have so much expertise, having watched Meghan and Harry with their Oprah, do they now regret having done the Oprah interview? I'll wager they do. If they could turn the clock back, would they do it again? I'm not sure they would. I don't know. Would they? So that's where I'm at the moment. Should I or shouldn't I? Well, I hasten to add I don't have any plans to go on TV slagging anybody off. But as I say, we're all sinners and we all lie. As always, thank you very much for listening. Thoughts, opinions. Oh, and my hair looks a mess because I just wanted to prove I don't always bother with the time-o ring thing, which is brilliant.